What's going on, everybody? It's DotBets. We are checking back in. We got our week 7. Week 7 it is. It's insane. Week 7 on the dot, NFL live stream coming at you guys here off of a bye week for the show. Had prior obligations last Sunday, but we are finally back. And we got a messy week 7 with a tons of injuries. So we will break everything down as quickly as possible, go off of a ton of questions you guys have. If this is your first time tuning in, I appreciate you guys. We've been doing this for, I think 3 or 4 years now, and it's grown and grown each and every year. So appreciate you all tuning in. If you have not yet, hit that subscribe button so you guys make sure you know when we go live, and hit that thumbs up because it goes a long way for us to continue to do these shows each and every week. But yeah, so injury riddled week 7. You got the Rams, Jaguars firing off right now. So I know some of you guys lost Puka out there. Hope you didn't replace him with Jordan Winnington because he has not done a thing. So, but then we have very strange development, for the Monday night game because a lot of people lost Igbuka out there. I would think he plays, but I don't know. Maybe throw in the comments what you guys think he's going to play. I wouldn't understand why you would practice Saturday if you're not going to play in a limited fashion. So maybe he'd be limited, but I think you could still have Igbuka in your lineups if you want, but make sure you have a backup plan that night. Luckily, there are 2 games that evening, so there are some streaming options. Hopefully, you can put them in your flex. If you can't, then put them in the obviously wide receiver role, and go from there. All right, so yeah, if you do have any fantasy start sit questions, throw them in the chat. I'll walk you through them as best we can. Prop questions, spread questions, whatever it is. So I've already locked in my favorite spread of the week with the gold members, gold play for the Sharp Bros Discord. If you guys have not yet checked us out, we have 5 or 6 of the best cappers on the app. I love our Discord community, so make sure you guys hit up the Sharp Bros Discord in the link below. And I'm sure we'll have tons and tons of winners today. We had a heartbreaker on Thursday night. Heartbreaker. I mean, we still had a really nice night. Hit our same game parlay, but the one I gave out for free, we needed Johnny Smith for 2+ yards. And man, I don't know how I still don't know how he didn't get it. I mean, he had 28 yards at halftime, and then Freiermuth turned into Rob Gronkowski, and he did not get a dang catch. So lost a little bit of sleep over that, but nonetheless, we were profitable. But yeah. So let's dive in. Enough of me ranting as we go on. But yeah, your tons of questions. You guys will dictate the show where that goes. And I have my favorite spread play. I got 3 props for you guys. And then I have my pick to click anytime touchdown bet of the week. We do have some comments to start. What's up, Sean? Appreciate you tuning in. Ready for a great Sunday. As I always say, every single Sunday, the vibes are so high. The optimism is so high. And then it gets to be like 12:15 or 12:30, and you're just instantly pissed off the rest of the day. But no, I live for Sundays. It's absolutely, it's electric. What's up, Gage? Says, good morning, Dot. What's up, buddy? Appreciate you tuning in. And we got first question here from Gage. Should I start Rico this week? 100% start Rico. Couple reports that came out from Schefter were that the Panthers have been watching tape and film about how the Lions run their backfield. I ultimately think the way Chuba was playing before he got hurt wasn't, he obviously got the big contract, but with the way Rico's played while Chuba's hurt, you have to play Rico. Like you just have to. He's that big of a threat. And so they're going to find a way to get both. And just like you can play Montgomery and Gibbs each and every week, I think you'll be able to start Rico for sure. And then we can just kind of see. But it is obviously a hit because he's not going to be playing every single series. But I'd still be comfortable playing Rico, especially with a lot of bye weeks. A lot of guys on bye weeks and such. What's up, Sean? This is Tucker Craft over. I'm assuming receiving yards, but I'm all for Tucker Craft. If you want to put him in a touchdown parlay too. I know we said that I think 2 weeks ago, or I said that I think it was last week on the Discord. But he ended up scoring, so like him a lot. JJ, what's up? Says, yo, we are ready to roll. So let's get into it real quick. If you have not yet, make sure you guys sign up for Hall of Fame bets, HOF bets. Use my code DotBets. You'll get a 7-day free trial, and then your first month is a half off. So I use them basically every single time that I want to make a bet. And I'll show you this real quick. So first game we'll get into is this Colts Chargers game. There's tons and tons of data on this app, and it's more not just prop betting. You know, you have your spreads, your game lines, your injuries, usage charts. I mean, there's all types of information on here. I think it's a one of a kind app that I've used plenty of them in my day. Trust me. And this one is the most simplified one for sure. Gives you injuries and all that. But this one is the first one we'll break down because this is my first play of the week. It's actually, when I made it last night, it was 1.5. It's actually grown to 2.5 here for the Chargers. So we're breaking this game down in the Discord last night, and we had Kentown with me, and he was. I've seen a lot of people on the Colts. I don't blame him one bit. I just think the Chargers got absolutely boned by their scheduling recently. You know, they had to go to the London game, then they had a home game, then they had to go to the Dolphins last week. So it's like so much travel. You had a West Coast game, then you had the East Coast game. Now they're finally back home here, and the Colts, no shame here whatsoever, but 5-1, they have not beaten that many good teams. If you want to dissect that, let me see if I can pull up there. I mean, so look at the teams that they won. So granted, they beat Miami, but Miami's frauds. You got the Denver win, and if you remember that's the infamous leverage call, which they should have lost. Beat Tennessee. They lost to LA on that fluke, which a lot of people would say that's their coming out party there with being a good team. But then they beat the Raiders, and then they beat the Cardinals. So it's not really been I wouldn't say that they're absolutely mowing the top competition down. And so put that on top of this Chargers team who is 4-2. I think they're very, very desperate for a win. And I know that their offensive line has gone down. I know that basically they've gotten ravaged by injuries in their backfield, but you had Kamani Vidal I think he's going to be a very, very key component for the rest of the season for them until Hampton's back. And if you saw it last week, he can definitely handle the load. A lot of people were on him last year as like a stash play in fantasy. Then they drafted Hampton, so Vidal was basically on the back end, but really, really like what he can do out of the backfield as he's shown last week. So ultimately, I think the Chargers get this done today. It's actually grown, like I said, from 1.5 to 2.5. I think a lot of money is coming in on the Chargers. So like that play here, but I would say that the Colts would be a popular underdog pick, but this is just a famous NFL. You're like, how are the Colts? How are the Colts a dog? They seem like the better team. They should win this game, and it's like, it's just the classic NFL here where the Chargers get it done, roll off on the back of Justin Herbert for sure. All right, we got another question here. What's up? I'm going to butcher your name. I apologize. Esteban, the Patrick Mahomes TD again. I actually don't think so. So I think he's he's been waiting for Rashi to come back. This is like 11.5, 12.5 point line. My favorite to probably get into the end zone here is Kareem Hunt. I think he's like plus 130. But I just think it's going to, if you take a step back to where getting the ball out quick on those Rashee Rice slant routes, you're going to see Patrick Mahomes you play him in fantasy. He's been one of the best quarterbacks this season because of his legs. And I just don't know if he's going to need his legs much for the rest of the season with Rice back, because he's his go-to man. I just don't think they had, Worthy tried his best to be in that role, and he's not designed for that particular role. So I probably wouldn't go back to the touchdown. But I mean, if you wanted to back Rice, Kelsey, or Hunt to get in, I've seen a lot of love for Worthy touchdowns this week too. But I ultimately don't think Patrick Mahomes is going to use his feet much. Obviously to extend drives and such like that. But I think in the red zone they're going to get a little bit more traditional. But yeah, good question, because he has been absolutely elite with his feet recently. All right, so let's get into our first prop of the day. We're going to go to the Broncos-Giants game here, and we're going to go to J.K. Dobbins. So J.K. Dobbins over 63.5 rush yards. I believe that's still the line. I think it's 62 or 63. Let me double check real quick. As you guys can see, he's been an absolute beast on the ground this year, and he continues to be force-fed football. So it's actually 64.5 on Caesar, 65.5. So it's grown a little bit. So this, like I said, I made this last night, but I'm okay with taking it up to 65 or so. You've seen he's hit this in every game besides last week, and last week's game over in London was an absolute disaster. But you can see right now he's averaging 15 attempts on the season. And if you scroll down here to the Giants, Hampton ran all over them. Javonte Williams ran all over them. And everyone's going to point to Saquon not being able to get over 60 yards. That would be a bad play. But the Barkley hasn't been able to do anything all season. So it's nothing special against this Giants. I think you can definitely still run on this Giants front. And you're going to see Sean Payton definitely give the ball to JK. A little bit more of a bounce back position here. As you saw last week, he still ran the ball 14 times. They just could not get anything going, as that game as a whole was just a big old cluster. So like a bounce back effort here for J.K. Dobbins. If you want to take him for a touchdown, I like that as well. But as you can see, hitting every game besides last week, because straight up volume here. And if you're at a 7-point favorite, 7.5-point favorite, you're going to see at least anywhere between 15 to 18 touches here. And you might see a little bit more of RJ Harvey today. Just usually when they blow people out, they give RJ a little bit more run. But J.K. Dobbins should be a main contributor today for him. All right. And so I know a lot of people are hurting with wide receivers. So AKA me as well in fantasy. My team lost Puka and Igbuka, so I've been basically mixing and matching each and every one. And this is one guy that I picked up. I have not put in my starting lineup yet, but I do love his matchup. He's just more of a high-risk play. And we're going to go back to that Colts-Chargers game. And if I'm on the Chargers, and I think there's going to be a lot of passing for the Colts here. Like what I'm seeing here out of my main man, Alec Pierce. So Alec Pierce, you have him, finally came back last week after a couple, I think he lost a couple games of concussion. But as you can see, 36, 68, 67. And then he came back and ran about 80% of the snaps last week and got caught 48 for 48 yards. I think he had 2 catches for 48. Main thing that I will go to here, and if you watch this Colts team, they're very predictable. That's why I love betting on them. Very, very predictable. Tyler Warren's going to get the underneath routes. Pittman's going to be slant guy, and then you have Jonathan Taylor eating up the ground, and then you have Pierce, the deep ball guy. So he's hit this basically in every game but one this year. He's got a 36-yard reception, 44-yard reception, a 26-yard reception, and then a 19 against Tennessee. So he is their deep ball threat, over 19.5 longest reception. Believe that is still a line. Let me double check here, but you You got Josh Downs completely out. Doolin is out as well. And if we are in a trailing game script, I really, really like what I'm saying. You can even take his total receiving yards. You got over 38.5 over on FanDuel, over 40.5. I'm still okay with that. But my longest reception here, so it's 20.5 on FanDuel, 19.5 on DK still. So, I mean, I think you could easily get a 20-yard pass here. Maybe take him for a touchdown if you want. It's a little bit more of a high-risk play. But as you can see, against this Chargers defense, let me see if I can get the longest reception. So longest reception, they've probably given up some good ones. Yeah, 45, 22, 52, 25, 49. Yeah. Oh, and I mean, and it doesn't even matter because it could be to Luke McCaffrey, a wide receiver too. Tyquan Thornton had 38. So defense could get beat on the back end. So really, really like this play this week for the Colts offense, especially if you're telling yourself the story of Alec Pierce, catching the deep ball on a trailing game script there. All right. Let's see if I can pull up the last prop for us. And this guy has been absolutely cooking as of late. Actually, all season long, he's been playing very, very well. So I'm going to keep riding this train here. He is just, and it's kind of not a great game, but you do have a little revenge narrative here for the coaching staff. And so I think they're going to try to, I don't want to say run up the score, but, they're going to try to score a lot because Mike Vrabel going back to Tennessee, I think there's going to be a lot of the players rally around Vrabel very well, very well. So like what I've been seeing here from Drake May. So Drake May over 1.5 passing touchdowns. I think this is a gift from the books here because a lot of people run the ball versus the Titans. What's the one thing that the Patriots just absolutely suck at is running the football. And you can see Ramondre or Henderson to get a touchdown. But I think ultimately, when you're playing this Tennessee Titans team, you're going to be able to throw the football against them in the red zone. You're going to be able to throw touchdown passes here, especially with the inept ability of this Patriots running back room for sure. So let me pull this up here for you guys. As you can see, besides the Buffalo game, which is pretty wild because they absolutely dominated that game, that he didn't throw a touchdown pass. But every other one, 4 out of the 6 games so far, he is throwing for 2+. And if you've seen against this, Stafford threw for 2, Stroud threw for 2. And if Geno can throw for 1, that means every other quarterback in the league can throw for 2 because Geno's just so bad this year. But I do love, if you go back to the matchups, I'm sure, the Cardinals ran it in a ton. I'm sure the Colts probably had 4 touchdowns from Jonathan Taylor for the round. Like, if you can't run the football in the red zone, you're going to throw it. And I think Drake May's been very, very well. Played very well this season. So I like this play for 2+ touchdowns for Drake May. All right. Any other questions? Let me know. I'll be in here like 2 or 3 more minutes. If you got start sit questions, trade questions, whatnot, let me know. We will go to my pick-to-click touchdown player of the week. And it's a guy I've backed a couple times this season, and I have not got a touchdown from him. So I'm going back to the well here because he's only scored in the first game, looks like. Yeah. So we are going to go a great matchup. I love facing this Eagles secondary because you're going to get a ton of value here. And so we're going to go Justin Jefferson plus 130. I know Quinyon Mitchell is probably going to play with the with his hamstring, but that can always flare up in the game no matter what. So ultimately, they've been dialing it up different ways to get Justin Jefferson the football. Also, you also have another revenge narrative here with Carson Wentz playing against the Eagles. So little bit extra motivation there for Carson Wentz, hopefully to find Justin Jefferson in the end zone. If you wanted to take Addison, I'm totally fine with that too. But I'm going to roll with Justin Jefferson here. I think he has the best odds as one of the best receivers in the game, if not the best. So plus 130 should be a good one here for Justin Jefferson. All right, let's recap real quick. We got Chargers 2.5. We got JK over 63.5 rush yards. Alec Pierce over 19.5 longest reception. Drake May over 1.5 passing touchdowns. And then Justin Jefferson to score a touchdown plus 130 over on FanDuel. All right, if you do have any other questions leading up to kickoff, either drop them in the YouTube comments or join the Shark Bros Discord, and I answer questions literally all night long. I'll wake up to go take my dog out at 2 a.m, and I will sit there on Discord and answer whatever questions you got. So, but yeah, so it's 24/7 access in the Discord. So make sure you guys join up. We got one last question here from Brett. What's up, buddy? Says Jacobs going today. I ultimately think he misses the game. I think they've made a huge deal these last couple of days. It's not only him being sick, but it's also his calf. So I just think you're a 7-point favorite. I think ultimately they can get the job done without him today. I would be making plans if you have not already picked up Emmanuel Wilson. Go ahead and pick him up. The only problem is that it's a 3 o'clock game. So if you do have Jacobs in your lineup, put him in your flex. And if you picked up Emmanuel Wilson to against your opponent, make sure you have a flex option later, maybe the Monday night game or a 3 p.m. game or the Sunday night football game where you can flip-flop and throw Wilson in if Jacobs goes, because that's a no-brainer to start Wilson if Jacobs can't go. So I ultimately lean that he's not going to play. All right, we'll get up on out of here. Appreciate you all tuning in. We'll be back same time next week for week 8, and appreciate you tuning in. See you guys. Let's cash some tickets and have a good old Sunday. See you guys.